All right, people, thanks for staying with us. It's time to take a look at the headlines of the papers this morning, as usual. Yeah. All right, we have our leadership and communication strategist, Dotun Ojon, in the studio with us. We see him every Monday when he's not running. Good to see you. How was your weekend?
Good morning. Very, very great. Very wonderful.
All right, good to see you. Yeah. All right, let's begin with a punch. Come for budget defense this week. National Assembly tells ministers. Of course, we'll find details of that one in page 3. This issue of ministers not coming forward to defend their 2018 budget has become a major issue. Yeah. Well, the senators are saying, look, you can now come this week. Yeah.
Hey.
And March is ending. We don't have the 2018 budget yet.
Yes, we do not. And, you know, politically, we are politically correct when it comes to the issue of budget passage, because they will tell you that our budget year does not start by January, so it can start at June or even July. But my prayer is that we will not, we will not get to a point where we have 3 months only to execute a budget for a year. But one of the reasons why the ministers were not actually totally willing to come, apart from the politicking here and there, is because of the fact that what we operate now is what I call a copy and paste budgeting system. And you copy from last year, you put it in this year, and it causes a lot of embarrassment for the government.
Words, not much thinking really goes
you understand. You understand. You see, let me cite an example of what happened in Aso Rock. That one still remains an embarrassment to me as a person, that we bought cutlery last year. And this year again, we are having allocation for cutlery. So these are some of the issues. And the National Assembly, because once we have an executive arm of government that relies solely on the civil servant to prepare budget, then you are going to have an issue. And once we have issue at the level of the executive, then the legislature is going to be happy because they will have something to at least hammer their head.
But telling Nigerians, don't blame us for the delayed budget passage.
The National Assembly has been saying that since December, and of course
the essence why people clamor for majority in the National Assembly, if we have a PDP government or an APC government, is for easy passage of budget and so many other policies that will favor Nigerians. Unfortunately, the people in power are not going to be victims. At the end of the day, it's going to be people out of power, because whether they pass the budget or not, allocations will go to the appropriate quarters. They will, they will travel, they will get there.
Well, isn't this good for democracy, really? Is this supposed to be a democratic setting where the executive and the legislature are always in bed?
Yeah, always having their way.
But the essence of government really is not for one to serve as a clog, as we have it now. Really, it's good for us to actually argue over issues and agree on a common goal.
Not just for the sake of arguing.
But now the relationship is becoming cloggy. And that's what I don't like.
Because the lawmakers have been calling for ministers to come to the assembly to defend their budgets, and they've not been doing so.
You see, if we had had a good relationship between the executive and legislature, that does not mean that questions will not be asked at one point or the other. But at least Nigerians will be rest assured that at the end of the day, it's to their benefit.
Yeah. All right, moving on, there's still other stories. I'll release details of Saraki Dogara's allowances. That's Ishe Sage saying there. According to him, if it comes out with the figures, they are mind-boggling figures, and Nigerians will be truly alarmed. And this is coming on the heels of Shehu Sani, the Kaduna Central Senator, who came out with the figures saying, look, we collect 13.5 million for running cost and 700,000 naira as salary.
Benefits.
You see, I think there's too much of a secrecy involved in running our government in Nigeria. It's quite unfortunate. At a point in Nigeria, I think it's even better now, because at a point in Nigeria, we're using 25% of our budget to run the expenses of the National Assembly. Yes. I don't know the percentage now, but I think it's lower. But the case is this: once you don't solve the problem of your people, 30 million naira will never be an issue, will never be too much. Because I went to a friend of mine who is a member of House of Representatives, and I went there with my family. We sat down, and after giving everybody something, he called me and gave me 10,000 naira. And I rejected it. And he was pleading with me, begging me that, Otikere, is this too small? I'm sorry. I said, no, I cannot collect, because within this short period of time, I've been able to calculate about 750,000 naira. So what we play now in Nigeria is the politics of poverty. keep the people poor so that they can always run to you, so that you will continue to use them during election. 30 million naira to me is alarming. I can shout, wow, but visit their house, know the number of people who go there to beg. Yeah, that's why, are you not surprised that even despite the fact that we are calling, what's it called, anti-corruption campaign here and there, nobody is investigating nobody. Because in reality, Nigerians live in poverty. Their leaders have kept them in poverty, and they run back to their leader to get money.
It brings to mind what an honorable of the House of Representatives, Kazari, was saying about women, that women should not be empowered so that they don't realize the power they wield, so that they don't vote them out.
Yes,
and from what you just said, that when you impoverish the people, they don't know any better. All they want
it's a deliberate attempt not to give people good education, not to give them good health.
Provide basic amenities.
It is as deliberate. Unfortunately, the people also prefer the politics of poverty. Unfortunately, we as a people...
Do they really?
We do.
Doctor, we have other stories here. JAM releases 1.3 million UTME results today. And according to JAM, about some of the so-called computer-based test centers were fraught with a lot of fraud. Yeah,
a lot of fraud. You may want to say that again.
All right, let me just read through some of the other stories. Right. Soldiers kill 4 militiamen, arrest herdsmen in Benue. APP seeks to join Electoral Act amendment suit. And the artisan tortured by Rivers SARS plans to sue police. Labour plans nationwide strike over 30 billion naira NSITF fraud. And APC knocks PDP, urges support for Buhari to end killings. All right, so we go to the Vanguard newspaper here, and the major story, Dapchi schoolgirls will be released in 2 weeks. That's according to the defense minister, with double riders under it. Something is fishy, say PDP, Afenifere. We want some questions answered, according to the Big Back Girls group.
Either we like it or not, at every point in time, I think there's a need for us to call our government to question on some of the issues. But now, looking at the welfare of the children that are involved, if you say 2 weeks, you are going to get them. For me, I'm going to shout hallelujah. I'm not looking at the politics that is involved. But again,
he seems so confident that
this is not the first time. This is not the first time an official of government will come out to speak so confidently, and at the end of the day, it turned out to be false. So let's just prayerfully hope that they will actually be rescued within 2 weeks.
So you're saying regardless of
whatever, because what should be paramount to us now, it is the lives and the safety of the girls.
So when they are back, then you can ask questions.
Yes, we can ask questions.
Okay, so we go to another story here. 2019, why Buhari delays to declare intention? That's according to the presidency, that it's just for opponents of his government not to sabotage.
The first time I read the headline, I was extremely very happy. I thought it was for another reason. I never knew that it was because opponents would take advantage of anything. I thought it was because of the mood of the nation. If you had come out to say, oh, the president is not going to declare for a second time now because the time is not right, because of the killings here and there, I am going to come up here and praise the government to high heaven. But again, I think we are a little bit cheeky and childish with our politicking, especially when it comes to opposition, and maturity is part of leadership. Yeah,
and then the question again that people want to, don't we already know that he's going to run in 2019?
But I think it's a lot of, if he had given the reason
especially
of the mood of the nation,
Mustafa, the SGF, came out.
So I was expecting that it was because of the mood of the
education minister distributing, campaign mementos for him. Okay, another interesting story here. Some would say crisis brewing. Election reordering. Saraki Dogara meets principal officers today on veto to override Buhari.
Yeah, I think it's about time for us to be truthful. Without truth, we are not going to get anywhere. I have listened to so many people argue about the propriety of the National Assembly doing this and that, and I laugh. It is the right of the National Assembly to work on the Electoral Act. Nobody is contesting that. They have the power, as stated in the Constitution, that they can actually override the veto of the president. But when you want to do that, come with a clean hand. I am expecting this is going to favor democracy. But when you want to do it, don't put the National Assembly first. Put the House of Assembly first. Let everybody have the right to vote at their least local level. Because that is the least election level, that INEC can actually conduct. Let's start with the House of Assembly. Let's vote. That will give even my people that are clamoring for not to run an opportunity to even have representatives, because all of them will not have space in PDP or APC. So when you give them the opportunity to go, they can go under any party, AP, any other party. You will have elected the true representatives of the people, not the one that will. I have never been in support of electing the president first, but again, I am not in support of electing the National Assembly members. Let's start from the House of Assembly, move to the National Assembly, then conduct president. Then all of them that have been boasting, including the president and PDP, if they truly know that they are popular, then let them allow the reordering. If the National Assembly people also know that they are popular, let us have the House of Assembly first.
Would it seem to you that maybe they're afraid that if you put powers into the hands of new governors, you know how it is really when you rub shoulders against the governor of your state?
Of course, that's the problem. In my state, for example, now, my peace-loving governor came out to say that, oh, I have only 2 senators.
Which state is that?
You are one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's quickly move on.
I need to run through some of the stories. Land use charge will resist any attempt to disrupt peace in Lagos. That's according to the police because of a protest that is planned for later. Then nobody can unilaterally fix port charges anymore, says Bello, NSC boss. Why Nigeria can't collapse? Former President Olusegun Obasanjo talking there.
We must know something we don't know.
Absolutely. And then presidency demands electronic transmission of manifests 7 days before ships arrive. All
right, moving on to the Daily Sun. Why Buhari won't declare now presidency, talking about 2019. Opponents will sabotage nation. We already heard that one. Okorocha shuns APC stakeholders meeting in Imo. Why is that news, really?
Somebody asked that question. I was asking this one.
Yeah, the guy was away in Ghana. He was away in Ghana, so I mean, unless you have a clone of Okorocha, then you'd have him in Imo.
Really,
and
I
Ghana
think everybody is interested suddenly in cases that concern or involve Imo people, Imo government.
They seem to be reading a lot.
Because
body
even
language.
Some people will stay
because
at
of
the corner of their
his
house
son-in-law's mix.
And just write a story and put it on the social media, whether right or wrong, and people will continue to feast on it. But the reality is that, like I asked myself the other time, if my father-in-law has been governor for 8 years, and suddenly he calls me, say, Mr. Don, will you be able to continue my legacy?
Would you say no?
I'm still wondering whether I will say yes or no. Yes. So
after you have the right to be voted for.
I'm truthfully saying that to Nigerians before we go to high heavens and crucify Okorocha. Let's ask ourselves that question, because I am not going to come on air and say what I do not have the capacity to do. That question is really very important.
Very, very important question. 18 die in Lagos-Ibadan Expressway crashes. Police warn protesters planning to block Third Mainland Bridge. Well, that's a totally different story from the 18 people losing their lives on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Almost every other day.
Yes. You know, we get to hear about statistics of HIV/AIDS and all this. And when it comes to accident, somehow we play it down. Yes. And I think the major taker of life today in Nigeria is accident, road crashes here and there. So the government has to be deliberate. And like I said before, I have commended this government on their strive to fix our roads. At least the fact that they have the right spirit to continue where the past government stopped is something, is very new to me. In Nigeria, I've studied politics over time. And I think if we continue with this pace, if we do not play politics with it, in a matter of time, we're going to have some of our roads fixed.
Well, let's just hope so. 103 million naira fraud. Federal pay officer jailed 127 years.
I'm wondering that if we continue to have this kind of jail terms, that it will scare people away from corruption.
But really, will it? Because people will keep telling you, look, they're politically exposed, still in billions and trillions. Nothing happens to them.
Unfortunately, let me bust your bubble that after this, now I don't know which court is this, this man will appeal. And after the appeal, you are going to hear another story. Unfortunately, when we are going to hear that other story, it will not make it to the front page of newspaper.
Absolutely. And lawyers fight over poll sequence. Well, disagree on constitution provisions. You know, that's the thing about law. They say the law is an ass.
Yeah.
You know, it just... Okay.
Everybody has a logic to argue.
To argument. And they use the law.
Yeah.
That's the way you use the holy books yeah.
Anyway, we go to the Nation newspaper, the major story. APC moves to reconcile Buhari, Saraki, others. And there's a list of some issues here which the Assembly, National Assembly and the Executive somehow seem not to agree on. And the Assembly is holding the Executive off on. President yet to make any deal.
Yes.
So is it about deal or no deal?
No,
give me what I want, I give you what you want.
Yeah,
or in the sake, for the sake of democracy. Anyway,
to a certain degree, no. Forget about sake of democracy or work democracy has to benefit from it. To a certain degree, it's about what, at the end of the day, what I will benefit. Every powerful man is thinking about self. But again, if APC does not move fast, I am afraid that their moving will be moving out of power. If they do not, they are every day issues come up. Issues come up that you cannot imagine.
But are these issues strong enough to, you know, move the APC out of
Of course, I've said it on this platform before.
Are you sure that
the major problem APC has, the major problem APC has is APC. It's not even PDP. When people begin to compare PDP with APC, I laugh. I said the major problem of APC is APC. Once they've been, if they can get to a point of reconciling their aggrieved members, as we speak now, majority of the members in APC, especially the ones in power and looking for more power, are not in APC. They're actually looking for an opportunity to move out of APC. And
all right, we don't have much time.
Okay, so
very quickly,
let's just run. Yeah, crisis in Oyo PDP to National Secretariat. Stay off.
Stay off. We are independent. We can manage our own crisis. You know,
the PDP seems to be blocked to so many crises, really.
You know, when PDP falls into crisis, it doesn't concern me. Because at the end of the day, you discover that they've learned the art of managing their crisis internally.
That was what we thought until the 2015 election?
See, the 2015 election is more than crisis.
Okay.
What happened was a product of an obvious failure. It was so realistic that even the people in PDP accepted the fact that we have failed. So what happened is not a product of whether there was crisis or not. They've always been crisis since PDP was formed in 2000. Do you remember that even between 2008 and 2009, some executive members left owing to crisis? True. Even, I mean, those people
none of the parties
contributed to the writing of their constitution.
Well, none of the parties really is immune to crisis. Anyway.
Yeah, government fine-tunes toll gates return plan. That's federal government. Yeah. Oyegun Ekiti APC chiefs meet today.
All right, finally, from this day, Kuka blasts Northern Muslim elite, says they use religion to hold on to power.
It is not.
There's nothing, no comments. Really.
No, it is
nothing to add to that.
It is not. It is not a product of whether we're talking about Muslim or Christian. There are three controls that we never had in this country, and as long as we do not have them, they will continue to keep us down. Number one is population control. Number two is greed control, and number three is religious control. Once we don't have this control, forget. It's not about Muslim or Christian. All right, well said.
CBN fixes April 3rd and 4th for MPC meeting. That's a Monetary Policy Committee meeting. S&P affirms Nigeria's rating at BB. Stable outlook. Cautions against high debt service cost and forecasts 2.4% GDP growth in 2018. Things looking up for Nigeria. Unfortunately, Udoma loses brother, Minister for Budget and National Planning. His elder brother there, dying at age 66. Of course, this day also reports why Buhari's re-election declaration is delayed. That's all we have for you from the headlines of the Nigerian newspapers this morning. We'll bring you a reminder much later.
Dr. Najon, Leadership and Communication Strategist, thank you very much for your analysis on the show. We truly appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, so we go on a short break now. Of course, that's it on the newspaper review. And when we return, we'll be looking at, of course, the problem of the herdsmen killings, which somehow is spreading to other states. Kogi is affected as well.
Yeah.
Stay with us.